Hi. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be trying to recreate Andy Warhol's soup can. So what I want is, I don't want us to do the four, although that's usually what I would want. So I would want you to get a white piece of paper and fold it in half. I'm using a paper that has already been used, so it's recycled. And the important thing is that I will share the image with you that we look really closely. And so it is a cylinder shape, which means that this part over here is like an oval because we're looking at it from a different perspective. And then we would go down and then this would be curved. And we are going to be making soup. So we don't have to call it necessary Campbell. You can come up with your own name. You could call it harira, chicken noodle. And then over here, you would write soup. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, fold my paper in half. And I'm going to just show you where I'm at. Okay, hold on a second. All right, so the key thing is that with any project, we mentioned in order for it to be as close as possible in size, it's important to do the same step on both ends, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm using a red marker, but you can use any color. So I'm going to do an oval that covers almost the entire side. Do you see that? Sort of like an eye. Let me go ahead and use the green because I don't think you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and use the green, which is a little darker. Okay. So you do sort of, and then you just bring it down. You see that? Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. And I'm going to measure it with my fingers so I can get dot, dot. So I can get the same idea of where I'm going with that. See? And that way they are both the same. And then I'm going to bring it down and go ahead and bring this down. Same length, right? And then I'm going to make this a slight curve and this a slight curve. Now the top of our thing will be with right here, sort of another curve. And so this is going to have the part that says soup. Over here is sort of like a semicircle, right? It's almost a circle, a little bit bigger than a circle, and it's in the center. And then over here, so over here we can think of a brand name. And over here we are writing soup. So how I write soup, S, and then I'm going to make it a little fatter, O, U, and you guys need to bring this in the next physical class, which I believe is on Friday. You need to bring in your work, okay? Because we're not going to fall into the last time some of you guys did not bring in your work. There is no excuse. You must bring your work. You have enough time. And I want us to work on a different project starting next week. So this should be finished 100%, which means that today is Tuesday. On Friday, you would need to have it 100% done, okay? So over here, we need to think of what kind of soup. I'm gonna go write harira. And I'm gonna do it like in big H. And I'm gonna try to make it a little fancy because Campbell's soup sort of looks fancy. Harira. And that's like a traditional Moroccan soup. It's not my favorite soup, but I thought it would be cool. See how I did that? And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. So these letters are a little bit more fancy. They're not script, but it should kind of like resemble what script would be. And okay, now over here, I can draw a little bowl of soup. So I'm going to go ahead and make my bowl. Sort of it looks like, and then over here, the circle, I want it to be big because I want here to look like I have some soup. And maybe I can make a spoon over here, right? Now, just like when we see Andy Warhol's work and we notice, see, they look the same. Just this is a little bit unstraight, but basically the idea is that the background has to be different colors for each one, right? The soup will be identical, right? But the background will be two different colors. So you just basically need to do that. In order to recreate Andy Warhol's thing, we're gonna stick with the same color scheme. So it's very easy to finish, right? The letters, we can leave them white, right? And then the inside part will be red. And then this could be with a little bit of brown, but with the soup. And then the background should be one color, different from the others. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly pause so I can go get some color pencils. All right, so I'm going to get the red and I'm gonna go ahead and color those two sections red. I'm gonna be careful to go, what I would do is I would outline my letters so that I can make sure that I am not going to be coloring the letters. We wanna make sure that the letters stay nice and neat. Okay, and this is something that we are hoping to put on the bulletin board. So you wanna make sure that you color neatly. Oopsies, I messed up right over there, but we can make sure that we're doing it as neatly as possible. And we would outline in black. So I have a black color pencil because again, looking at the image that we have, we want to outline it with black. So I'm going to go ahead and outline it with black just so that you can see, just in case the minutes don't run out. And if you have, this is again slightly curved. If you weren't able to do the 3D letters, if you just color over that S, it could then become like three, like little bit letters. Okay, and then we're writing soup. Okay, over here, I'm going to draw my bowl as being yellow. Now we know that harira is traditionally like a reddish color. So I'm going to continue with red over here because sort of like red, but it depends on what your soup is. And maybe with a little bit of brown so that it can kind of make sense. A little bit of brown, right? And my spoon, I'm going to make it blue. You could decorate your bowl into little designs if you want. And then you get a light brown, not a dark brown. And if it's dark like this one, then what you're going to do is you're going to color over it with some yellow so it can look sort of like a goldish color. And I'm not coloring this part dark because I want to make sure that it kind of works into sort of a goldish theme color. Oopsies. All right. And I'm going to go ahead, go over with the yellow. Okay. And I'm going to continue with the red. So let me see where we are with time. Okay, I think we could do it. Let's see. All right, so then I'm just going to go ahead, color this a little bit like this, sort of go to the side, and then I'm going to color. I want to make sure that it looks nice and a nice, really nice red. This red is not my favorite, so I'm going to go ahead and change the red into a darker, a brighter red. And again, if you want to make sure that you are not coloring the white parts of the letter because you want it to show, I would recommend that you get a thin color marker. The Faber-Castell is a great brand just because it makes you, when you draw over something, it doesn't take over the whole drawing. You know, it's not so thick that you can't get those letters out. So I'm doing that. Let's see if I can finish in the time frame that we're at. Okay, and I'm going ahead. Now let's look at the top of the soup can because I don't remember what exactly that is, but it's always kind of good. It's a gray, so it should be gray. That part should look like a gray because it's made out of metal, right? So the idea for that part is that it should be gray, and it kind of sort of has, you can't see it, but it has sort of like little pleats. So I'm going to go ahead and get my line and make little oval. So if you look at a can has like those little indent type of things. So I'm going to go ahead, and this, I'm not going to go so dark. I'm just going to go light. Okay, and I'm done. Voila. So I have my soup can. If I were really to be specific, I would go over this and make it neater. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and make it neater, but you get the gist of it. The background, so for instance, if I choose, let's say it shouldn't be red, obviously, should be a contrasting color. If I choose a yellow, then maybe this one could be blue. We want it to be two different color backgrounds, but the actual can should be exactly the same. Same color and same size and everything. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Have an awesome day. Bye.